the rain and with the rush hour of closing. So let us be your companion if you're stuck in traffic, wherever you are, right here on the show. This is a show that gives you all of the great insights that you need to grow your business, grow your personal finance, make profit for yourself and the nation's economy at large. Well, my name is Kayode Okikulu. I'm a gentleman of the press, anchor at Africa's News Leader Channels Television, and what a package we have for you today, I can tell you that. But first, a friendly advice, all right? Do not enjoy this largesse alone. So tell your friend, tell your neighbor, tell your business partner, tell your family member, tell your old schoolmates, even tell your competitor, right? There's love in sharing. Tell them to listen into any Radio Nigeria station closest to them in their state. Or guess what? They can just join online if they're out of radio coverage or they're maybe outside the country. Tell them to go over to smegrove.ng. I'll take that again. SMEGROWTH.ng. It's very simple, very fast. You get access, all of the access that you need to watch us live, to comment, ask questions right there online. So, what are we talking about today? Well, I'm excited, very excited, right? We're talking human capital. Human capital, our most valuable asset. So, on the show this evening, you'll be learning how to leverage that all important asset called human capital, to leverage it to transform your business and ultimately transform the nation's economy. So, if you're ready, let us get right into it. I can tell you this for sure. Today on the program, I have brought some of the most experienced human capital managers in the country. Oh, yes, we do that specially for you because you're special. So we'll bring the very best for you right here on the show. By the way, they're not the only ones joining us. You can also join us in studio, right? Just beyond watching and listening to us. You can also be a part of the show by calling us or sending us messages, right? The traditional way. So I'm going to call out the numbers at the start and then midway through the show, we'll take your calls and messages. So if you're ready, I'll just call out the numbers 0700 7000 977. With that number, you can reach us right here in the studio. That's 0700 7000 977. That is the magic number, but there's another one, right? 0901 133 9791. All right. 0901 133 9791. And finally, 0916 257 1214. 0916 257 1214. With those numbers, you can also be a part of the show. So let's get right into it. Human capital, our most valuable asset. I'm going to be introducing our panelists on the show today. As I told you, they're some of the very best human capital managers in Nigeria today. Okay? I'll start by introducing Dr. Lydia Sule, who's the Assistant Director, Acting Head, Talent Management Division at the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's Nigeria's Apex Bank. She joins us virtually on the show. Good evening, Lydia. Welcome to the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment radio show. We also have joining us Oiza Salo, who's the Chief Talent and Culture Officer at Polaris Bank. Also joining us virtually. It's great to have you on the show and right here in our Lagos studio because we're everywhere, online, in studio. We have joining us Olubukola Lanikbekun Lowell, who is the head HR FSDH Merchant Bank. It's good to have you on the show, madam.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And of course, making a comeback for the third week. This is a hat trick officially. We have Adetunji Mustafa, who's the divisional head, strategy, innovation, and business transformation, Fidelity Bank PLC. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
So this is your hat trick officially.
Yeah.
An Arsenal fan. I love my panelists right here in the studio. Okay, we'll get back to Dr. Lydia and Oiza very soon. So I'll come to you, Olubukola. Human capital, human capital, human capital. Tell us, what does this thing mean, really?
All right, thank you, Cloudy. And once again, thanks for having me.
Great to have you.
Simply put, human capital refers to, of course, the human beings. Let me put it out in layman's language.
Right.
Human beings.
So human beings.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not technology, not your computer that you have in your environment, work environment.
Yeah.
So it refers to the people within the organization. And by the capital side of it, it refers to, the knowledge that these people bring to the organization, the skills that they have, the experience they've gathered over time, and their abilities, right, that they have. Now, every one of them coming together, putting all of this together, we determine the value that the organization is able to derive in the collective effort of all of the people present in that organization, adding together their knowledge, their skills, their experience. Now, what do you mean by knowledge? Knowledge simply speaks to, the understanding, information available from an employee. Right. Now, skill speaks to the competence.
Right.
All the experience that the employee has gathered over the year, probably through trainings acquired and to training acquired. And with regards to experience, it's a practical experience, practical application of the knowledge that the employee has gathered. Then, of course, ability speaks to the talent, natural talent that the employee has, and also, the attitude that the employee brings to the organization. So all of this, when an employee is able to harness all of this, qualities within himself or herself, and is able to, being a part of the organization, add value to the organization, and ultimately results in profitability, results in expected or desired organization performance.
Fantastic. So simply put, human capital is you and I, what we carry, what we know, what we're able to deliver as a business owner, employee, as an entrepreneur. Human capital is you and I. Why is this important, really, for business growth and development in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. Question. The human beings, are the force powering every organization.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I use determines how long the vehicle will last, determine how far the vehicle can travel, determines the durability of the vehicle, So human capital is very important. It boosts productivity and innovation.
Yeah.
It supports organizational goal. It drives inclusion. Everything you want to do in your organization, human capital is the most important factor.
I love that. In fact, when you use the petrol example, I immediately understood. And I think every Nigerian can understand. When you talk about petrol, we are there. We understand. And that's why they talk about the quality of a certain petrol or petrol stations, petrol. It makes sense that way. I'm going to go over to virtual panelist, Lydia. Let me try to come to you, Lydia. Just confirm that you can hear me and that you can contribute at this point, Lydia.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Coyote. Apologies, you've gone off. I can't hear you again.
Which speaks to a different approach to labor, right? Seeing labor beyond just labor, but as human capital. But for the business person out there who's like, I know these things, but how do I know where my challenge is as a business person? Is it capital that I need? Or is it entrepreneurship that I need? Or is it land? Or how do they know that human capital is the challenge that they need to fix in their business? How does a business owner know?
Thank you very much, Kaide, for your question. And I'll just say that we've talked about the factors of production, looking at land and other aspects of production. And for every business owner, they already know what they have in terms of all of those factors. So it's quite straightforward, because when you look at the fact that you already have all of the things that you need to produce anything, and yet you're not getting the kind of results that you expect, then you have to go back and look at your human capital. Because one of the things I usually say to people is that you can never make people do anything they do not know how to do. So if you're expecting a certain outcome, and then the skills, competencies, experience of those people cannot has nothing to do with what you're trying to achieve, then you know that you're having a challenge with your human capital, or the people at work, as we prefer to call them these days, and looking at them not just as people, because you're also looking at them as talent and the abilities that they can have, and even the kind of creativity they can come up with. And you're not getting that kind of result, then you should know that you have a human capital issue and you should try to address it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love that point you made. You cannot make people or force them to do what they do not know how to do. It just cannot happen. It's unfair. It's impossible. And thank you for that. So let me try the connection now with Oiza. I hope you can hear me, Oiza. I hope you can speak now.
Yes, Coyote, I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks.
Fantastic. So let me get your opening comments on this human capital. She has said that you can't force people to do what they do not know how to do. It's unfair, really. So let me just narrow it down to, you've now identified that, okay, human capital is my challenge. Okay, as a business person, the employee that I have, yes, this person is brilliant, but he's not able to deliver on the job well because doesn't have the right skill, the right knowledge, the right experience, even state of mind. These days, your health is part of human capital. So how do you really know which is which? Is it the skill that I need to touch on? Is it the mental health? You know, Gen Zs talk about mental health a lot these days, right? Or is it the knowledge? How do you identify which one as a business owner?
Thank you very much, Coyote, for that question. Like you mentioned, there could be a couple of factors that are impacting on individuals being able to deliver results and the outcomes that we want in our businesses. So take, for instance, if you maybe decide to get a new piece of technology, right, in your business, and you realize that it's been underutilized, people are not making use of the systems, then you clearly can identify that there is a skill gap in terms of people being able to make use of technology that you have deployed. So that's where you then start looking at things around the training bit. So you have to make sure people know what they're expected to do and how to do it. And that's when you look at upskilling individuals to make use of maybe new technology that you've deployed. In terms of whether it's the case around employee well-being, when you begin to see things like higher absenteeism, right? So people are frequently calling in sick or turning up late for work, or even when they are in the office, you know, they just seem not to be present. That's where you then say, you know, let's get some feedback. So that's where it's important to get employee feedback to understand what the issues really are. Then you then clearly can see perhaps this is an issue around the well-being of the individual, whether it's around the environment. Do we have the right, am I creating the right work environment where people can thrive, where they can bring their best selves to work? And then if it's the case of maybe the person is a misfit, right? Because in some instances, people may not be the right fit for the culture. So if in your business you say, oh, this business, we are big on ensuring that, you know, we respond to customers promptly, we attend to things in good time, and you have an individual who is unable to meet those requirements, then you know they perhaps are not a good fit for your culture and the organization as a whole. So it depends on what the issues are, but it's important that we understand what we require as a business, and then we're able to identify where those pain points are in order to address them. Thank you.
Fantastic point. Thank you so much. Just to reiterate, get employee feedback. So you probably have a fashion house. You have like 4 tailors or 3 tailors, and you notice that one particular one is always calling in sick. or is always not available, or is just absent-minded, seems detached from the work. You give him a measurement and ends up showing something else entirely. That's when you realize that, hey, I need to pay attention to the human capital bit. So look at the environment. Are you creating the right environment? Maybe the person is misfit. Maybe the person doesn't want to be destroyed. The person just wants to be sketching patterns. I don't know why I'm touching on fashion design today. It could be anybody, right? But you get the point. And let's push this forward. Now, I need everybody's input on this one because it's a big dilemma that business owners, entrepreneurs face, right? So, yes, we agree you need to train your human capital. You need to give them the skills, experience, knowledge that they need to deliver. But then you finish training them and they say, "Okay, I have to resign now." That's a dilemma usually. So a lot of business owners hold back and say, I don't want to train because I spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stuff training them, and they leave. So how do you balance that dilemma, Olubukola? Because it's one that businesses face.
It's our reality.
And
we face it every day.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you're not going to stop investing in developing your people because of Java. The truth is, Java is here, and we don't know where it's going to end up. Hopefully, when things turn around in the country, then our people that are running up to stay. But as organizations and employers of people, it's important that continue to invest in your people. Because ultimately, invest in your people, then your ultimate goal, which is the specific objectives you set for yourself and the productivity level.
Yeah.
Because business investors, promoters, shareholders are looking up for the shareholders' interest, right? So, they want to return on their investment. And to ensure that the people within the business are equipped with the right skills, experience, knowledge, do the work required, we have to train them. And one thing, just like you mentioned that, I don't want to train anymore, is it's okay for you to set up the KPIs, right? Or set up the job description to say, this is what I'm looking for in you. However, it's important that you ensure that the new hires you've brought in actually have what it takes to do your business the way you want to do your business. Because if you're relying on what they've been trained to do from where they're coming from, when they get in and there's no added value to them from you, you end up not getting the level of value that you expect from them. And it's no fault of theirs.
Right.
So employers can't stop and should not stop investing in training. What we should look at beyond learning is having an enabling environment, give them a sense of belonging, that even when the option of JAPA comes in, they look at all the other things you're doing for them, because it's beyond just compensation now. It's about, the employer value, the developer value proposition you're bringing. And by value proposition, we're talking about not just compensation, option for remote work, which a lot of organizations are buying into now, non-financial incentives, employer engagement initiatives where your people know they have a say, they can be heard, you are interested in their well-being, not just about what they are giving to you. They will just get the job done. I'll give you KPI. So you
do the job.
I don't know how you're going to get it down, but you know that beyond the work, you're also interested in other area of their lives. There's no way they will be quick to leave such an organization when you know they're connected.
Brilliant connection. Be more humane. Don't just say deliver. Be interested. And data puts it that businesses that invest in human capital are 45% more likely to experience significant revenue growth. So there's data that points to train them, invest in human capital, and you get growth. But Adetunji, I don't know if that's a dilemma that you've seen across board. What if I train them and they leave? Maybe not even jackpot. It might be the next door company now that they just move on to, or they jackpot outrightly. It might be a shoemaker. You train your employee in that sense. You've taught him how to make lovely brogues. You've taught him how to make lovely shoes. And then this fellow shoemaker just comes up and takes the person. So how do you balance that dilemma? Same question.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And I think it's a dilemma that every business owner would face at one time or the other. Now, you must introduce non-promotion incentives to your business. It could be the culture. I remember many years ago, we work in a structured organization. We work in a bank.
Yeah.
And then some guys came. They said they don't want to wear suits. They want to Yeah. The world is changing. And as a business, you must change with it. And then you now need to define your priorities. And it's a big deal to them. They don't want to wear tie. They don't want to wear suit. They want to be able to wear dreadlocks to work. Now, for a structured organization like a bank, then you need to add some flexibility, to your schedules. And then some guys don't want to come to work. They don't want to do the 8 to 9 anymore. They want to work remotely, So those are the considerations you must balance. And then sometimes there's also what is called the golden handcuffs. In which case, you could give people at a certain level mortgage loans, give
Golden
them
handcuff.
yeah,
His handcuff, but
financial,
it's golden. I love that.
give them some financial benefits so that leaving the organization would be a huge financial investment for them. And then they would have to really, really think, before they do so. And then there is also HMOs, registering people in HMOs,
Yeah.
I mean, if you know that your family, yourself, you are covered in case of health emergency. And then most importantly, you must also help people to fulfill their career ambition. For example, if you have accountants in your organization, register them for ICANN, that's the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Encourage your people to go for MBAs at a certain level. If they know that their career objectives can be met within the organization. And then some people offer stock option, which means at certain levels, you give employees shares in the organization.
Right.
So that affinity with the organization is deeper and is stronger.
Brilliant.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.
Thank you very much, Adetunji. There's this classic saying I've heard time and again that when people say, what if I train them and they leave? The response from a wise person is, what if you train them and they stay? What if they stay? Right? So, I mean, think about it. You don't want to keep someone who is untrained, right? So you won't allow the fear of them leaving after you've trained them to stand in the way of you training them in that sense. So brilliant points you've made. And, it's amazing how Gen Zs are changing things. We're grateful to Gen Zs for some of the changes they're bringing. Let me come to Lydia. We've always heard that customer is king, but it looks like employees becoming king right now. So same question to you, that dilemma, how do you go about it as a business owner?
Thank you again, Coyote. I was just going to start my conversation with your last point, where the argument has always been if you don't train because you're afraid that people would leave, what if they stay? Because when they stay, of course, you have incompetent people or people without the skills and the requisite knowledge available for you to be able to produce whatever outcome that you want as an organization. And I think one of the questions that we have had to ask as an organization is, looking at the current trends, especially in the workforce within the country, is people are leaving. Are they leaving us as an organization, or they're leaving the country? And we realize that, well, there might be a bit of both, but predominantly one aspect. But then, of course, you still stop training because you're looking at current skills. You're also looking at future skills. But one of the things we've done is to say we still value the people that we have. And because without these people, we're unable to achieve what we want to achieve. So as an organization, we've decided, yes, we're looking at all of this, and you're looking at the people, and we're still doing all the things that we do. Because one of the things that really keeps people with employers is training. It's one of the strongest retention tools that employers have. So for any employer who has people, is also giving them the opportunity to have skills that are quite rare. And I've seen some organizations do it in bite sizes, in the sense that we know that you want this huge of a skill or competence, but then they give it to you in bits and over a period of time. Some employees have stayed because they know if I stay for the next 2 or 3 years, then I'm going to get the full package, because that's when I'll really get what I want. But in the course of that happening, what you get is that people are also giving back to the organization, and the organization is achieving. So in that sense, you have a win-win situation where the employees are getting what they want as well as the employer. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Lydia. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. The point you made about training being one of the strongest retention tools needs to be reiterated, so it's actually not what will make them leave. Looking at statistics, is mostly what will make them stay. And so if you're a small business and you're thinking, I can't afford training, you want me to send them to school, how much are we making? There are other ways you can train them, transfer some of the skills you have, skills about account management, skills about creativity, skills of innovation, because you have a lot to offer as a business owner. So there are ways you can actually transfer those skills to them. We're taking time out. Maybe every week you take out 1 hour of work time and just say, you know what, we want to train. You provide snacks, chin chin and zobo for them. Have a, cool atmosphere. Let them ask questions. Those are ways you can do that as a small business. All right. Okay. So let me come to Oiza. Same question, but I want to ask it this way, because now the business owner will be thinking, so how can I develop it in such a way that it aligns both with the employees' aspirations and my organizational goals? Naturally, I want to make profit as my organization. I want to grow bigger. And I know this person also wants to grow. So how can we be on the same page in that sense, Oiza?
Thank you very much, Coyote. Obviously, it's somewhat of a catch-22 situation. However, for a business owner who is thinking about all the training, I'm investing in this person, and perhaps they would leave me either for Japa or something else. I think the way we need to view it is that we're really investing not just in the individual, but in our businesses. So in terms of making sure that there's some level of alignment, that's where one would then look at, what does my business require, right? Am I into fashion? Am I into the food business? Am I into hospitality or whatever? So what types of skills do I require in my business? And that's where you then look at just also doing an environmental scan, because we don't operate in isolation, right? You're not going to be the only fashion designer. There are probably thousands and thousands out there. So just understand your environment. What are those requirements? What types of new things are people doing? And the person that you have or the individuals you have in your business, do they have the skills to do those same types of things or even perhaps better? And then it's also really having the conversation with the individual, because a lot of times people may tend to treat the workforce they have like tools versus individuals who are also contributing in meaningful ways to the growth of their businesses. So I think that alignment would come when you can have a discussion or a conversation with the person who works with you, and for instance, say something like, oh, I've noticed this is the way people are doing certain types of design. Don't you think it's something that you would benefit from learning how to do? Right? You're saying that because people want to see what's in it for them. So they are seeing what's in it for them, but ultimately it's also helping improve your business. So it has to be a give and a get, a win-win situation for both parties. Then the individual knows, okay, this person is adding value to me and I'm growing, I'm learning, and someday I won't be there forever, but I won't be living there without having the ability to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you very much. You are investing in your business and not just the individual. So when you train, see it as you actually investing in your business. And that's why we've moved away from just calling it labor to human capital. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm enjoying this, but we have to go on a quick break, right? We're due for a break right now. You can be a part of the show. I'll tell you how when we return. We'll talk about how to, get this done without breaking the bank, the skills that are needed, technology, and the rest. So stay with us right here. It's a financial literacy and public enlightenment radio show.
It makes sense. I come here, please. Sorry. Calm down. I go pay. Please, I no fit pay. Why everything just cost like this?
Na dollar.
Dollar. How?
Baba, na true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all these ones take affect dollar?
You know me say for the price of dollar to come down, get what we suppose to do. We suppose the export pass wetin we dey import. We suppose they buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agents.
This is my friend. It too get sense. You know what's going to happen? Give am the pay, make it pay. Country people, make we join and reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message is from Bankers Committee.
As part of its financial literacy and public enlightenment Monday, the Bankers Committee has come up with the 2025 MSME Radio Show. The objectives is to deepen MSME understanding of the evolving changes in the subsector, business strategies for growth, and various national and international policy. Financial experts from deposit money banks, development partners, regulatory institutions, and successful entrepreneurs would arm listeners with premium financial knowledge. Tune in to the network service of Radio Nigeria between 5 to 6 p.m. every Monday. Topics to be covered are cashless policy and alternative payment channels, contactless payment options, sourcing FX, agency banking, raising capital, and cross-border trade. To find out more or register, visit www.smegrowth.ng on Facebook and Instagram at Bankers Committee, LEE.
You're welcome back to the #1 SME show on radio, the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Radio Show, brought to you by the Bankers Committee. My name is Kayadoki Kyulu, and I tell you this, the first half of the show has been phenomenal. We've scored more than a hat trick on this show. We've had a fantastic game. Guess what? The second half is about to begin. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can call us or message us right away on 0700 7,977. That's 0700 700 0977. Or you can also call us on 0916 257 1214. Again, 0916 257 1214. I have very amazing, brilliant, very experienced panelists on the show this evening, and we're talking about human capital, our most valuable assets. And I can tell you this, I have seen human capital.
So let's get back to the conversations and have joined us. So leaders today, Assistant Director, Acting Head, Talent Management Division at the Central.
So let's get back to the conversation. We have joining us Dr. Lydia Suki, Director, Merchant Bank, and I introduced about Regional Head, Strategy, Innovation, and Business Transformation, Fidelity Bank, PLC. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. So let's move on to the next phase. So a lot of people are buying into this human capital. You sold it very well to them. When you train, you're not just training, you're investing in your business, right? Ensure that you pay attention to what really matters, because that will grow your business. But the issue now is money, cost. Because businesses, a lot of them will tell you they're struggling right now. They're even barely getting by. They have to buy petrol, diesel, they're paying rent, and they're paying for power and all of that.
Let's take this quick call. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This quick call.
Or we'll get back to that call. So the point I was making,
Right. There's a lot on the table of a business owner, and now we're adding human capital development to it. Saying, Kimi, you know the saying, right? So how do you creatively approach human capital development in a cost-effective manner, in an innovative way that will still deliver for you? I'll begin with you.
All right, thank you, Cardi. So there are various ways to develop your people. Of course, we've identified that development is key.
Can I pause you for a second? We have a very, very persistent caller on the line. Hello, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Skeja.
Mr. Adam West, great to hear from you again. What's your question
for our panelists?
My question is that do you, because if I'm interested in carrying out a particular professional skill, that is skill development, and I have to with maybe fashion design. How do I package it, or at the same time, or my local products like my professional products like that do with on and dress them. How do I package them? I want to go into serious exporting and the rest of them.
Okay, Adam West, I'll try to get answers to your question. If I got it correctly, professional skill development for the kind of business that you do. Well, some will say you can go on the internet and read on some of his things or watch videos on some of them. But perhaps we can get our panelists to respond to that during the course of the program. But hey, you can also be a part of the show if you're listening. If you've got questions, particularly about human
very valuable asset as a business owner. You want to know how to navigate this human capital to ensure that it works for your business. 0700 7000 977 4916 257
1214. I'm sorry, I paused you there. But he was basically trying to say, as a small business, there are ways they can get, skills and development for his business. But you can land on the point you're making about cost, which I think would also fit into the question he's asking.
Okay, so, like I was saying that development is key.
Yeah.
And you can continue to do things the same way, it's a different result. So number one is to actually stay abreast of the trends in the businesses you're doing. And looking at cost, which we agree that it can actually be huge times.
Yes.
I mean, investment in training is long term. We expect to get right, dividend that you want right now immediately. The various ways to doing it. Within the business, probably could have subject matter. So you can actually start from within the organization. Knowledge get someone within the system that has some understanding of whatever part. And you must also be able to have done some analysis or that's assessment of what training is required, what skill are you looking to acquire? Or you are looking for your people to acquire. So by the time you do the assessment, you clear on specifics because you must be specific in regards to what you want to improve or develop. Then you can look at people within the system. That won't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Right. You can do rotation within the organization. Okay, this part of the business, go and work with team B. The team really does not know. Go and work with them to actually help. So you can rotate your people around so you can also transfer knowledge. You can do shadowing, somebody who sits with those you're not even spending anything on it.
Yeah.
Then when you're looking at maybe structured programs, there are e-learning opportunities. Yes.
E-learning opportunities. That I'd like to pause you for a moment and take this call. Hello, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from? There you go. E-learning, and you've just struck the chord. Technology, right? And I think for Mr. Adams, who called earlier on, technology can also help you. Hello, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I think the weather is doing something to our connection this evening. But you were making that point about you were making the point. Hello, good evening. What's your name? And where are you calling from?
My name
Can you please turn down the volume of your radio set?
My name is Patrick Akonade, and I'm calling from Olubode.
Can you say that again? What's your name?
My name is Patrick Akonade.
Samson. All right, Samson, you're welcome. What's your question about human capital? Francis. All right, Francis. Apologies for that. So please go ahead with your question.
And my question is it easy for someone able? Like how long do you think it should take?
Say that again. Is it easy for? All right, Francis, if you can please call us again. I missed a very vital part of your question. Is it easy for? Boom, we just lost you. So you can call us back. But e-learning was a point Olubukola was making before that call came in. So maybe I could just pass that to Adetunji, right? So she has mentioned quite a number of ways you can be smart about this. Internal training, I call it that. We know about internal employment, right? But now internal training, rotation, ensure that you use what you have for what you get. It's not every time you look outside. Sometimes you have that capacity in-house. So perhaps you might want to take it up from there. But let me try to take this call. Hello, good evening. What's your name? Okay, for now, I'm not taking calls for the next 5 minutes. It looks like the weather is not the friendliest this evening. So please wait for 5 minutes. Then you can put a call through, or you can just send us a message right on the show. But let's get our panelists to do justice to this one. Adetunji, it's over to you now. How to be smart about human capital development. Please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So I'll start from where she stopped. I think it's also important to put a structure around things first. For example, in my organization, we have what is called Thursday lectures. And what we'll do is just look at trend in the industry, bring subject matter experts within the workforce, to teach about the trend and speak about it. There are even soft issues like how to take care of your health, because a healthy workforce is also a healthy company. Just have subject matter within the workforce, speak about that. And then we also do apprenticeship, even in a structured organization. It doesn't cost any money. For example, I remember a few years ago, when we were going to set up a digital lab, and we looked at those that have operated digital labs even outside the country, sent some people there. It was free, knowledge transfer, and then they came back here, set up the same thing, and it's working perfectly. So that is also very important. Then I also think there should be some to encourage people, to step forward and get knowledge. There should be some kind of reward. For example, if your employee write an exam and pass, and then it's transferring that skill to your workforce, you should pay the guy something. After all, if you are going to bring an external facilitator, you would pay.
Right.
So, and it's also encourage learning. And then it's also important that, have like an innovation session, which will also be a training session. It doesn't cost a thing. Just bring people together across various departments in your company. Let's talk about what is happening in the industry. Do you know now that you can do, let me think of something. Do you now know that maybe this is Metro FM, it's available, you can watch Metro FM on TV, for example. That could be some innovation.
Right.
And then you could talk about it. Okay, for our organization, we don't have that technology yet. How can we get to it? So a lot of informal meetings, can be organized. But the most important thing is that there must be a structure around things, so that you don't disrupt the workflow. There must be a definite time, maybe Friday evening, Monday morning, whatever works for you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Have a structure. These are ideas that you're getting on the show free of charge. Okay. It is free of charge. Courtesy the Bankers Committee. If you've just joined us, this is a financial literacy and public enlightenment radio show. Yes, it's proudly brought to you by the Bankers Committee. And today we're talking human capital. Oh, yes, human capital. Most valuable. When you see people, don't just see labor. No, see human capital, be humane, see human beings. Someone suggested that, some of these pressure groups, that they should change their name, maybe from Nigeria Labour Congress to Nigeria Human Capital Congress. But that's just by the way. Let me come to Dr. Lydia now. Perhaps you might want to add some other ways to be more creative about human capital development, such that you don't break the bank, you still keep it within your budget. But there's also the point of return on investment. How do you begin to measure that, okay, I spent 10 naira to train this person. I need to get 10 or 20 naira back. So how do you also ensure that you are looking at return on investment and you're getting that return on investment when you invest in human capital development?
Thank you again, Heidi, for your question. And just to add a bit more on what we're talking about earlier, and the fact about how innovative we can get in learning. One of the things that I am a champion of is leveraging employee agency. And like Mustafa was sharing earlier, employees, like we're talking about human capital, and it has to do with people. And whatever skills, knowledge, competencies we need, still within people. And we have those people already within our organizations, and they can help us to transfer whatever skills. So some of the strategies we can use are things like mentoring, coaching, or even just working in teams where team members can learn from each other. So putting that aside and looking at return on investment on learning, one of the things you always will have to use, there are other tools within the HR sphere or space that you can use. Performance management is one of them, because you would be able to see the performance before this training or learning activities have taken place and what it is after. And that will tell you what kind of productivity did you have before and what kind of productivity are you having after that. Apart from that, because we're looking at probably both profit-making organizations and not profit-making organizations, that might work best with a non-profit-making organization. But with profit-making organizations, it's something you can look at from your turnover before and after you have put some investment in people. You should see an increase. You should see additional income or whatever it is that you're targeting as an organization, and that can help you to identify whether your human capital development strategies are apt and they're working and they're giving you the results that you want.
Fantastic. So ensure that you're methodical about it. Do performance management. Check what you were getting before and after. And you realize that this will also help you to now give it the right measure. Okay. Give it more or step back and try something else. And if you're a bit out there, you're paying attention to things, now it's time for you to start that. You have to be more intentional about you. That's how you get rid. Beautiful. So they to do, right? Fantastic. Kemi, what's your shoe brand? What's it called? Fit by Wumi. All right. So I think we'll wind down on Kemi's question, right? And I'll say it this way: as a business owner, what is that thing you must do tomorrow? Just like Kemi said, she tries to put all of these incentives in place, but somehow they find a way to leave. So she's thinking, is it the economy? Is it a Nigerian thing? What exactly is it? So I'll allow everyone to just put in a word or two for Kemi as we begin to wind up, maybe 30 seconds of advice. I'll begin with Olubukola, come to Adetuji, go to Lydia and Louisa as we wind down.
All right. So for Kemi, what I would say is, yes, people will go, but please just take note of something. Your employees must have a sense of belonging, and you must also see your business as not just a business, see it as an organization, as a company. And ensure that your people, your employees are also seeing themselves beyond where you are currently. So beyond the pay that you give to them, you mentioned incentives, very critical. Like I mentioned, for the non-financial incentives, let there be a sense of belonging, employee engagement. So beyond, outside of work, what are the activities that you have? How conducive the work environment? How enabling? Do they feel belong there? And how passionate are you about their well-being? How do you speak the leadership style? Leadership style is also very important. If they are connected to you, if they buy into your leadership style, they will stay with you. They will pour themselves up to you when they have issues. Beyond being your employee that you pay something at salary at the end of the month, they must also see as their friend. They should be able to find in you when they have issues. So employer engagement, activities that you can have beyond work. And like you mentioned, structured, it could be monthly, it could be weekly. Have something outside of work on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Look at special programs that you can have for them to show that beyond work, you're connected to what they have to do and areas for them to improve as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Adetunji, final thoughts on this?
Well, I think the most important thing for a business owner, you must understand that it's not everybody that can work for you. And I think what most business owners are lacking is that, they don't do a lot of research before taking people, especially small businesses. So I have a vacancy, this guy shows up, oh, I'm taking him. I think what you need to do, speaking to Kemi directly, is that before you employ people, you need to do your background check. Yeah, I know it's difficult for a small business, but people must not just, your company is not a dumping ground. There must be references, which you would check. There must be referrals, which you would check. I think that's the most important thing. Make sure that they are the right people for you. And if they are the right people for you, then you can now, everything we've talked about today, on retaining your employees, begin to practice them.
Thank you so much. Let's go over to Lydia. They would close with Oiza. That question from Kemi as we wind down.
All right. Thank you again, Kayode. Unfortunately, I didn't hear a word of what Kemi said.
So let me just run you through it quickly.
Okay.
So
Right.
Kemi makes shoes, right? And she says she's tried all of these things, or at least a good number of them, incentives and all of that, but she still finds it hard to retain them. So she's asking, is it an economy thing or a Nigerian thing? Because these people always find a way to leave.
Okay. So I'll just go back to where we started this conversation. And that is, are you looking at them just as a resource to your business, or you're looking at them as people in your business? And when we talk about shifting that mindset of looking at the people who work for you more as people, you're also looking at the value of them as individuals. You're looking at the unique skills, experiences, and the contributions that they'll bring. But you have to also really define, like someone said earlier, the type of people that you want in your organization. And when you're interviewing for people coming in, you need to know their previous experiences, what kind of learning they've done, find out why they left the last employer, why they're trying to come into your organization, and what they want to bring in, and where they see themselves in the next 5 to 10 years. Are they planning to still see themselves with you or elsewhere? So some of these questions at the onset will help. And then managing them as people rather than just a resource to your organization make a lot of difference. I hope this helps.
There you go. Kemi, you're getting all of the help that you need on the show this evening. So I'm going to end with Oiza. Your final thoughts for Kemi in a minute as we wind down.
Okay, thank you very much, Kayode. I think one critical piece that we tend to overlook sometimes, again, with smaller businesses is the onboarding, right? So it goes beyond hiring somebody as a salesperson. They come into your store and say, okay, go ahead and start selling. I think we need to pay attention to the first few days or few weeks of the individual joining that business. So there has to be deliberate action around onboarding. Let this person know what your mission is, what your values are, what's the objective of your business, and what would you like to achieve, and what are your expectations in terms of how they contribute to you achieving that objective, and what would this mean for them in terms of also meeting their own aspirations. So key thing is, how do we settle people into our businesses when they come on board? Thank you.
People into our businesses Head, Talent Management Division, Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you as well. Right here in our Lagos studio, Lubukola Olanikbekun Lawal, Head HR FSDH Merchant Bank. Thank you so much, madam. And of course, Adetunji Mustafa. Is it fair to say my guy now at this rate?
Thank you very much.
Divisional Head, Strategy, Innovation, and Business Transformation, Fidelity Bank PLC. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. In case you're just joining us, you can listen to this back on YouTube. Go to smegrowth.ng. But that's where we draw the curtains on the show this evening. Half of the production crew, the engineers, Daniel Kuye, Rowan Aladejo, Olatunde Abdulatif, of course, studio manager Dewo Eusebio, the assistant producer Ole Adigboye, Mario Homa, and director Lagos programs Bolanle Owuye. Thank you to you. My name is Kayode Okikiolu, gentleman of the press. I'll see you next week.
It makes sense.
I come here, please.
Calm down. I'll go pay.
Please, I don't feel
Chai,
Why
everything just costs like this?
Na dollar.
Dollar. How?
Baba, not true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all this one think affect dollar?
You know me say for the price of dollar to come down, get what we suppose they do. We suppose they export past wetin we dey import. We suppose they buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agents.
This is my friend, it too get sense. You know what's going to happen? Give up the bill, make it pay. Country people, make we join hands, reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message is from Bankers Committee.
As part of its Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Monday, the Bankers Committee has come up with the 2025 MSME Radio Show. The objectives is to deepen MSME understanding of the evolving changes in the subsector, business strategies for growth, and various national and international policy. Financial experts from deposit money banks, development partners, regulatory institutions, and successful entrepreneurs would arm listeners with premium financial knowledge. Tune in to the network service of Radio Nigeria between 5 to 6 p.m. every Monday. Topics to be covered are cashless policy and alternative payment channels, contactless payment options, sourcing FX, agency banking, raising capital, and cross-border trade. To find out more or register, visit www.smegrowth.ng.